Hey Beans, and welcome to another episode of my Top 10 series. Today we're going to be covering a little bit of a different topic. A lot of people have done videos about the top 10 rarest items in Animal Jam, but I really just don't want to forget about non-members in this process. So today we will be covering the top 10 rarest non-member items in Animal Jam. Hope you guys enjoy. Number 10 is the purple glitched ring. Now, there are very few of these, but unfortunately not that many people know about them. They're dwarfed by their cousin of the green glitched ring, so not that many people want them because they just think of glitched rings as the green glitched rings. The original ring that ended up being glitched was released in September 2013, so not only did not many people get these, they were also released quite a long time ago. Now, the reason so few people got these is kind of complicated, but I'll read you a quote from the Animal Jam wiki to tell you just why they are the way they are. When the item was initially released, there were only two colors available, the default and the glitched color. After an update from AGHQ, both of these colors were removed, and 8 new colors were added in their place. Both of the original colors have dark highlights on the ring itself, whereas all of the new colors have light highlights. Also, the original glitched color has a dark spot on the center of the gem, instead of the light shine that all the other versions have. Nowadays, they're worth anything from 5 to 8 black longs, so they're quite rare, but not that many people know about them, so their demand is not that high, placing them only 10th on this list. 9th is the Beta Tiara. Now, many people mistake this and say, hey, you can get that in stores, silly goose, but actually the one you can get in stores has a red gem. This one has a blue gem, which distinguishes it. Another really important thing about the Tiara is that a lot of people fear that these items will come out as rare item Mondays, but the Tiara can't ever come out as a rare item Monday because there was already a rare Tiara for a rare item Monday, and Animal Jam never repeats rare item Mondays. At its peak, it was really difficult to assign this a value because many people thought it was worth different values, but it was anywhere between 4 and maybe 9 black longs. It's very hard to quantify, but that's where I'd put it at. Number 8 is the Beta Blanket. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with the old blanket item. It's been in the game for a very long time, in fact since the beta, and that's where this item gets its name. Originally in the beta, there were a bunch of different colors of the beta blankets in Jamaa clothing. However, Animal Jam decided it would be a good idea to move it to Mount Shavir and the Cocoa Hut. When they moved it to the Cocoa Hut, they didn't include the light green color, favoring instead to only keep the dark green color. So nowadays, there's a dark green color, but the light green color still never came out, meaning that since it was moved in the beta, this is an item that hasn't existed since the beta. The important thing is that since it's glitched, well, not that many people got it because it was a very specific and random color, and so not that many people happened to buy it before it just randomly disappeared. And nowadays, because that color is gone, it's worth quite a lot. Number 7 is the green glitched ring I'm sure you've all seen a couple of times. Now, when that color glitch came out, more people happened to choose the green color, so there are actually quite a few of these in the game, but for some reason, people are still looking for this one more than the purple. I think the reason is because the purple looks very similar to the colors we have in Epic Wonders right now, and so people think the green glitched ring actually looks really glitched. I mean, technically it's not even really glitched, it's just an item Animal Jam took out of the game to put in other colors in favor of it. But the green one looks glitched, and it looks really different and distinct from all of the colors we have nowadays, and a lot of people do get scammed with the purple one because it does look similar to the glitched one, and so I think people are just skeptical of it in general, and just the green one gets assigned more value and you can notice it at a moment's glance, so that's why it's considered rare even though there are a few more in the game. Now here's where we get into the crazy one-of-a-kind non-member items. This begins with the Magenta Locket, which again, there's only one of in the entire game. It's owned by Centaur with 2 R's, and actually it was one of these Magenta items that was created by a little glitch on Animal Jam's part. A lot of people got their items hacked and messaged Animal Jam and asked for them back, and Animal Jam has a policy where they will replace lost items one time as long as they aren't items that were taken out of the game completely, like the headdress. And so they sent these people their items, but there was a little glitch and they accidentally gave them in completely magenta form, which is like the default color of the items that the items automatically reverted to, and Animal Jam didn't color them yet. So these weird magenta items got put into the game, and since they were errors, well, Animal Jam didn't take them back, and now there are only like 1 of each type, and it's really strange. Number 5 are the black Jamaaliday socks, something I'd honestly never heard of and never knew were rare at all until I talked to WootMoo earlier today. So WootMoo actually used to own these, but he traded them to Love to Dream, a very rare jammer, for one of the magenta items, which is in fact a Magenta Phantom necklace. The story behind these is that there were 8 colors of Jamaaliday socks, and WootMoo noticed a pattern and noticed that every year at Jamaaliday's, Animal Jam would stop releasing the last color on the color spectrum for the next year. So taking that into account, he actually just invested in these black socks and got them, and they became very rare very quickly because they stopped being released, and eventually he was actually able to get a Magenta Phantom necklace off of that, which is also one of a kind, but since it's not non-member, it can't be put on this list. But that's the story of the black Jamaaliday socks. Number 4 is, yes, I know, another magenta item. Don't worry, it's the last one. So the Magenta Jamaaliday scarf is a real thing. Take a look at this big chart of magenta items by WootMoo, and it looks a little less intimidating, but you'll see. There are quite a few. Anyway, so there used to be 2 of these, which is interesting because usually there are only 1 of each type of magenta item, and they were owned by people named ALBX, and someone I'll keep anonymous because I don't want to publicly shame them for getting banned. But basically, this other person who owned one of them got banned, so now there's only 1 in the entire game because there's no way to recover items off of a banned account, so there will only be 1 for the rest of time, and it is currently owned by ALBX. It's in high demand. Both Apari and WootMoo are offering huge amounts for it according to ALBX's video, but it is one interesting item. Number 3 is one of my favorite items in the whole game, both because it looks awesome and because it's really cool to get, and it's a really cool thing that Animal Jam added into the game. That's right, it is the Alpha Sword. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about this, but maybe you didn't know that there are actually 2 in the game now. Now, the reason that these 2-of-a-kind items are put a little higher than the 1-of-a-kind items is because they look awesome, and they're sought after more because they say more about the player. You see, to get these, you have to get every single Adopt-a-Pet on your Adopt-a-Pet checklist. I mean, look at the people who have those checklists. They're absolutely insane. This must have taken such a long time, and a lot of money, too. And so they have more of a status value to them than just some silly glitched magenta item, and also they actually look really cool, and they're unique, unlike those other items. So the 2 people that own them currently are Lerox10 and Pom Pom Kitty. These are people who literally got every single Adopt-a-Pet toy. That is so much work, and I have a lot of respect for those people who actually went out and showed that level of dedication to this game. But that is why the Alpha Sword is the 3rd rarest item on this entire list, because, well, it's just so hard to get that only 2 people have it. Number 2 is a weird one. There are actually a few in the game. One is owned by Bubblegumby, as you can see here, but the demand for these is crazy high. This is mostly because they're associated with the next Tiara that I'll talk about, but I digress. Basically, in the beta, there were a couple of Tiara colors that were never re-released, and one of them was this Milky TR. Now, the gem is basically the same as the one we have in the game nowadays, but as you can see, the base of the tiara is a little different, and so that distinguishes it from the color that was available in the beta, making it very rare, and a lot of people happen to get a hold of these before they went out of stores in the beta, and now have a copy, and so they're worth quite a bit nowadays. And number 1 is yet another tiara. This one is the Pearly Tiara, and it's owned famously by Wisteria Moon. I believe there's only 1 in the entire game, and she's very lucky to get it. She spent a lot of time and effort trying to get this, and I've made countless jokes about me going on her account and recycling it just to mess with her, which is like half funny, but then also she gets kind of triggered. But basically, the story is the same. The tiara was released in the beta with a color that doesn't exist anymore, and so it's worth quite a bit nowadays. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't even know that this item exists. I mean, the only reason most people know about it is because Mia, or Wisteria Moon, has one, and she has basically made it quite obvious that it's very rare, because it's on some of her looks, and, well, she's very famous. Another reason a lot of people don't know that this is super rare is because it looks very similar to a tiara that's already in-game in the shop, but I promise you, the gem is a little different. If you want proof, here's a comparison between the 2 types. It's pretty obvious when they're next to each other, but just looking at it on someone's head, you might not be able to tell if you aren't an Animal Jam rare expert. Anyways, Beans, thank you so much for watching. I really just wanted to remind you non-members out there that there are things to work towards, and you don't just have to collect spikes and founders and things you'll never even be able to wear. So even if you have to invest in those items you can't even wear for a little bit, just remember that one day you may be able to get these items that you can actually wear, and all of your hard work will be available for you to show off. So anyways, Beans, I hope you're enjoying these videos where I try to include non-members a little bit more because Animal Jam certainly doesn't, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!